So we have Miss Myjia Tucker, who is a permanency case manager. She is also the amazing case manager to Mr. Kyle. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. I got a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
But before I do ask those questions, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Myjia Tucker, I go by My for short, prefer My. All my kids and parents, if they're not calling me Myia, they're calling me My. Been with the division since June of 2016, and can't imagine being anywhere else.
Okay. And so what program area are you currently in?
I'm currently in the adoptions unit.
Okay. Have you always been adoptions? Have you done anything other?
When I was hired on in foster care, and then about 6.5 months in, I transferred or transitioned over to the adoptions unit.
Okay. And so, what do you love most about working with the adoptions program?
As an adult adoption, myself being an adult adoption, I like to see permanency.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the most rewarding thing, having a child enter care and being able to see the case from intake to foster to adoption.
Okay. And I know with that you work with a lot of teens,
Mm-hmm.
and so share a little bit about why it's important to have quality engagement with our teens.
It's important because a lot of our teens feel like they have no one else. So you're like that last ditch hope or that last ditch effort before they achieve, adulthood, and then they're on their own and they're reaching out to bad influences, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Have you experienced any barriers with working with that population of ours?
The largest barrier is just building trust.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of, teens, preteens, they already have that wall up, and trying to knock the wall down is just virtually impossible. So the way I overcame that barrier is just meeting a lot of my kids where they were.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be over expensive meals, shopping in the mall, going to numerous events outside in the heat,
Mm-hmm.
just seeing that, I'm also one of their biggest supporters. So.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that Kyle shared that he appreciated about your visits was the humor. So why is it important that we have a little bit of humor or bring that with us when we're talking to our teens?
We don't know what our teens or what their day looked like before we got there. So when we go into our initial visits or into our visits, the last thing they want to hear is, how are your grades? Are you taking your meds? Are you having sex? Who are you having sex with? Like, hey, your feet stink. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you want to clean that up a little bit, or just, you got something on the side of your face.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say with him, but yeah. So just dry humor period, just something to get them off the fact that, DFCS is visiting again for their monthly visit.
Right. And so I know that another part of us having that quality engagement with our youth is being able to pull them into the actual decision-making process
Mm-hmm.
with case plan. So what are some of the things that you do specifically with our teens to make sure that they feel a part of that planning process?
Reverse psychology. I tell them, what do you plan on doing? Are you going to school? What are you going to school for? Do you plan on getting a job? Where are you going to work? They're essentially telling me what their case plan is.
Mm-hmm.
Versus me, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to go to school and do this, you're going to make sure you get this grade, and you have to graduate by this time. Like, they give me their timeline, and I essentially turn it into a case plan.
Okay. And so when you're doing that, what are some of the responses you get when they see, wow, it's finally someone who's listening to me and care about what I think? What's their response to you?
The response to me usually is, why are you so hard on me?
Mm-hmm.
Or why are you asking me so many questions?
Mm-hmm.
But in turn, like, the questions that I'm asking for your case plan are to help you in the long run.
Right.
So after we get over why I'm doing it and they see that long list of paper, oh, I got to fill this out. No, because you already did it. Like, all you're doing is signing it.
So for our case managers that may not be familiar with working with teens, or that are new to the agency, and this is their first time working and interacting with our teenagers, why is it important that we are so intentional with this particular population? Why is it so important that we're pouring into our teenagers?
This is the population, I think, that could be easily influenced, and the population that can be lost so quickly. Mm-hmm. So if we meet them where they are now and get their focus on the right track, regardless of what that track might be, it'll prevent years later of, family history repeating itself.
Mm-hmm. And I know one of the ways that we do try to anchor them is by implementing our transitional roundtables. So, what can you recommend as far as making sure that we're doing them timely, and that they are quality, and then our teens feel pulled into the process?
I know we're completely overrun with a lot going on, but just creating like a checklist of what teams you have approaching, the transitional roundtable time frame, making sure you gather the individuals that need to be at the table, and let them know, hey, I have this team coming up. Can we schedule something within the next 6 months? Like being proactive and intentionally proactive. If you have to set it on your calendar as like a monthly reminder leading up to that point, just something that is constantly in your face. It's almost like an email. You're always going to see it. So as long as you have that on paper, something to view, you're not going to miss it. It's not going to pass you by and you're like, oh, I forgot to do it.
Okay, that's good stuff. And so just in closing, I know to be able to have the heart to rock it out with our teenagers and have those visits exciting every single month, there must be some type of self-care or something that you're implementing that keeps the work new and fresh. What are some of those things, and what can you share with others that may be feeling, kind of at a standstill?
New and fresh, take the visit out the normal atmosphere. It does, yes, we should visit in the home, but it's okay to pop up every once in a while or every month at a school just to get, first of all, you're getting your collaterals. So pop up at the school, bring lunch. They're not expecting it. It's a nice little, let me get out of class. And just sit there and have lunch with your child, or just bring your child lunch and see how their day is. It could change the entire mood for that day for that child. You never know. Getting it out the house. So, of course, we go in, we check the rooms, make sure everything's clean, safe. No, safety concerns. But let's go outside and talk. Let's go out of your normal atmosphere and just change it up a little bit.
Right. That's getting rid of the mundane. And then that's helping you get some sunlight, because a lot of times we're confined to walls and vehicles and stuff, and so that's also making sure that you're getting that vitamin D as well.
And I mean, we're supposed to have the one-on-one, but you'd be surprised how much more kids open up to us when they're not surrounded by walls. So
absolutely. Okay, well, thank you for your time, and you have a great evening.
You as well.